there is grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers having been originally breathed into a few forms or into one. And that, whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms most beautiful and most wonderful have been and are being evolved. I'm excited. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on what side of the world you're in. I'm HalfLifeSistah, and this is my hubby Wolfgang.
What's up, everybody?
Welcome to my channel and to another episode of Sistah and Wolf Reaction. I want to thank all of my subscribers, oh my God, to date, who have
1 year.
Yes, 1 year, baby, 1 year.
Our YouTubeversary.
YouTubeversary, yes.
Am I pronouncing that right?
Yes, thank you all so very much for the love and support, all of my subscribers, and thank you so very much to my patrons who have invested in me even further. It's because of you all that I'm able to continue doing what I love, so thank you so very much.
The show.
Thank you.
Y'all know this is going to be a long one. You know, I'm going to be talking a lot. Time codes.
Remember.
Time codes are in the description along with a table of contents, so you can just skip to the part that you want to go to.
Of course.
For our fans, this is what they came here for.
Yes, baby,
okay?
I love you guys.
They
so
came
much.
here
Thank
to
you
see
guys.
her react to the song, and they came for the discussion afterwards. So I'm going to break down the lyrics in detail. I'm going to talk a lot about atheism and religion. If you are a religious person, do not be afraid. I'm not here to insult anyone. At least I won't try to. Sometimes I might accidentally do that, and I apologize. If you simply don't want that, you can skip right to the song, right to the reaction. Oh boy, where do we begin with this one?
I know, right?
The greatest show on earth.
It's the greatest.
This all started with Ghost Love Score. Obviously, we started our reaction channel a year ago, and I think in August we did Ghost Love Score.
Yes.
And we didn't realize it was going to be our biggest video at the time.
No, we didn't.
I'd been a fan of Nightwish for many, many years, and I stopped listening after Imaginarium. Not so much just because of Annette. I mean, I didn't dislike Annette's vocals, actually. Imaginarium as an album didn't interest me as much, and I kind of just fell off from Nightwish. Ghost Love Score and listening to Floor brought me back, and it introduced Sistah to Nightwish, which is
the greatest band of all time, possibly.
We've talked about Pink Floyd being your favorite so far of all the reactions. Where does Nightwish stand as far as your top 10 bands?
Oh, babe, my top 10. Nightwish would have to be numero dos.
Number 2?
And then...
And then let me guess, Megadeth's number 3?
Yeah, baby, Megadeth number 3, indeed.
Okay. All right, fair enough. But yeah, because I stopped listening after Imaginarium, I never heard Endless Forms Most Beautiful, which was the album they made in 2015 with Floor. And it also had the new drummer, Kai, who replaced Yuka because of his insomnia, from what we understand. Right. It's also my understanding that Yuka technically hasn't left the band. Okay. He's just not in the band right now.
So he's still working with them?
Well, if you look on their website, he's still considered a member.
That's because they're still they're family.
They're
family. They're about this whole oneness, and I love it so much.
Yeah, and Kai is from Winter Sun, which is also, we've been seeing your requests.
Yeah, lots of requests.
And I'm pretty sure a patron also requested it, so we will be doing Winter Sun very soon.
Thanks, babe.
And he's actually been on a lot of other bands, so he's done the drumming for this particular album, and he's on the tour, and you're going to see him in this concert.
Oh, I'm excited.
This concert, 2015, Tampere. Then, of course, you have Troy, who's a composer, an arranger, producer, multi-instrumentalist, a performer. He's total package. So they put this little magical gem in there and take them to yet another wonderful level. Right. So these two additions are excellent additions to the new Nightwish.
Okay, cool.
Now, this song is taken from the 2009 book that Richard Dawkins wrote. Do you know who Richard Dawkins is?
Richard Dawkins is an atheist. He's like a well-known atheist, yes?
Yeah, a lot of people consider him the king of the atheists.
King of atheists, indeed.
I can't pronounce atheist all of a sudden, apparently. It concerns biological evolution. This song is the creation of the universe and our existence.
Gotcha.
It touches on every subject in between, which is why when I break down the lyrics, it's going to be very detailed because every single line in this song has a meaning and an impact.
Gotcha.
And it was formulated. Now, I have not yet heard the instruments. I have read the lyrics. I wanted to prepare properly for this reaction. My pronunciations are not always going to be on point, as a lot of you already know. So don't judge me on that. I'm going to do the best I can there. And of course, to my fellow nerds, if I make a mistake, correct me in the comments, and we will enlighten ourselves. All right?
Indeed. It's easy.
Now, one criticism of Richard Dawkins is that he's considered to be a bit of an ass.
Okay.
He has, I would have to guess, what was that personality type that someone said I was?
INTP?
INTP.
INTP.
Okay. Any smart person knows that they don't know everything. Every smart person knows that they're not smart. Every smart person knows that there's always something to learn, and it's impossible to hold everything in your head.
Right.
So I'm constantly learning, even things about myself. I always called myself a logical thinker. But when I looked up INTP, sure enough, it was a word for word exact. Like, I literally started crying, remember?
Yeah,
because
babe.
as this woman was describing me, it's like I was being understood and heard for the first time by my mother or something. It was such a bizarre experience. And oftentimes we are considered to be come off as jerks, which is a part of one of the personality flaws or the misconceptions of this type of thinking, because when you have a deep understanding of something, it becomes very frustrating to not be understood by others. And when people bring you information that is so incorrect or so obviously infactual, the frustration that you get is kind of overwhelming, and it can kind of turn you into a bit of an asshole. And it's not intentional. It's very frustrating because I still want everyone to be on the same page. When I discovered that there are different personality types and that people are born with their brains wired differently, I started to become more understanding in that it's okay if someone doesn't get it maybe on the first try or maybe gets it ever. Right. It's only when those same people then go and harm people. For example, politicians or people in power who use their ignorance, and it ends up hurting a lot of people, that it becomes incredibly frustrating. You see this on this channel a lot when I go on my rants. It's I'm also a very empathetic person, so I feel that pain, and I can't help but get upset and bothered by things that to me are so very obvious. That's where that frustration comes from. So that's why Dawkins has talked about being militant atheist, where stop apologizing for being atheist. Own your atheism. Right. Stop dancing around ignorant people or people who want to believe in make believe and just talk.
It's kind of tough though sometimes.
And be yourself and speak the truth, and that of course makes him come off as a bit of a jerk. But again, understand where his frustration is coming from. When you can see things for what they really are, you feel alone. And sometimes I often thought I was, and then, YouTube has opened up a lot of doors. But what may surprise some people is that I've never listened to Dawkins. All of the thoughts that I have were developed over studying science and religion, and I've let all of that stuff in, and I organized it in my brain the way a scientist would, because that's the way my brain works. And what ended up happening is when I started listening to Dawkins recently, it was no surprise that him and I thought exactly the same. There's no difference, because when you're studying the truth and you're only looking at it from a non-biased, straightforward, truthful perspective, right, you end up in the same conclusion because the conclusion is obvious. Right. If I'm off, it's because I missed something. As long as you have the right information, you should come to the right conclusion. That's just kind of common sense, right? And that's right, where I feel common sense comes from. Uh-huh. And I feel that maybe sometimes people who appear to be lacking common sense are either biased towards their opinion and protective of it and don't want to change it,
that is very true,
or are simply missing information.
Indeed.
That once you give it to them, they can restructure and formulate.
Right.
The problem is most people are more protective of their feelings and ideas than they are open. I've argued with many people. I've not argued, but debated. I've tried to genuinely try to talk to people who have different ideas than mine, and I try to give them the facts and the understanding that I have, hoping and maybe even expecting that maybe they will come around and say, "Oh, okay. I mean, I kind of see your point," but they don't. They never do. I have yet to convert or at least enlighten anyone, and
Babe, stop. I wouldn't say anyone.
the thing that I'm trying to do right now, and I'm not the only one trying to do this, but I'm trying to do it not in a Richard Dawkins kind of way, but there's got to be a way to connect with people in a way that doesn't. And I think Neil deGrasse Tyson is an excellent person in this. Mm-hmm. And if you want to listen to anyone, go listen to him, because he's non-threatening. Yes. He is trying to genuinely talk to you in a way of understanding and non-judgment, and just sharing what we know.
You can look up the dictionary definition of atheist, and it kind of applies to me. And most of their conduct, I either don't agree with or simply don't engage in.
What don't you agree with?
I don't debate religious people and tell them they're idiots. I don't.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Whether or not it works, it's not in me to do that.
Now, I didn't know that this song was about the universe. This is news to me. But now that I think of it, one of our soldiers commented the other day something to the effect of, my, proclaimed atheists, you actually were acting to greatest show on earth. Okay, and it was confusing to me, so I guess that's probably why he pointed out the whole atheist thing. It's
referencing that this right here, life is the greatest show.
So it's about a book that he wrote.
Yeah, well, that's where Tomas got the inspiration for it.
Okay, that's so freaking awesome.
He's going to do Dawkins himself is doing a spoken word part of the song.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
And I think he might be in this concert.
Does that mean Nightwish people are free thinkers?
If he wasn't before, he certainly is now. But they are free thinkers, and we all should be free thinkers.
Exactly. Honestly, it seems like people in other countries are much more progressive than people in the United States. I'm actually more excited to do this for action now. I'm like, what is that over there?
We have a lovely gift from, you can't see it, but these are Finnish stickers. So one of our Finnish viewers has sent us a package because you have a birthday coming up, in case you didn't know.
Okay.
And you asked them to send you some goodies from their country.
I did.
So, not July 18th, but July 20th?
That's the live party, yes.
We're going to have a live stream on Twitch. It's going to be her birthday party. Come join us. Be a part of the fun. We're going to have games. We're going to have fun. We might sing some karaoke. And what we're going to do is our fans are sending us, this is the first package to arrive, but we're expecting some more. We're expecting one from Australia. But we've got fun treats that you're going to try for the first time. And I opened this very carefully because I want to save this, because this is our first package from Finland. And I want to save these stickers and these stamps and everything.
Thank you.
But she includes a card, a greetings card. And it says, "Hello, sweet sister. I'm sending you salmi." I'm not going to try to pronounce that. I'm sorry. Which is a salty licorice, and very popular candy in Finland. We put it in ice cream and candy and gum and vodka.
Wow. Okay.
You may not like it on your first try, but I'll have some fun watching you taste it.
Oh my goodness.
Love from Finland, Leah.
Leah?
Yeah.
Leah, you're so beautiful. You're so wonderful, baby. Thank you so much for participating. You're so wonderful. I love you. Thank you. What is this?
So we got 2 treats to try.
Oh, you're so beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I have a few packages coming, and I'm very grateful for you all to.
So we're gonna be tastings around the world.
This forever, baby, right on my desk. Mwah. Thank you, babe.
So there's still time if you want to send us a little treat from your country, a little food or something that's popular there. Obviously, nothing that's perishable. We're gonna do a little tasting from around the world.
You can't really see it. Thank you so very much. I'm excited. I can't wait to taste it. Thank you, beautiful.
All right, we're gonna cut here because I am sweating out of control.
You don't change your shirt.
I need a little break. I know, I'm changing my shirt. The sweat is out of control. I think our AC might be dying.
Oh.
I'm not gonna lie. So I'm gonna go change my shirt and then we'll start this reaction. Okay, everybody?
All right. Thank you so much. All right.
Intermission time.
Yeah. Damn it. I have to go fix my face.
So here we go. Concert from 2015. We did our poll. You guys.
Yes. Thank you all for participating.
Yes.
Across
It
the
was
board. Well,
pretty unanimous, I
Nice
think. But out of 375 votes, 78% unanimous for live at Tampere. Tampere?
temporary, I think.
You know my pronunciations suck.
Mine does also.
Yeah, so this is a concert from 2015.
Thank you all for participating with the poll.
Indeed. And we wanted to make sure we got this one right. So we figured let's just double check one more time, make
Exactly.
sure we get the right one.
Majority rules.
Now, we're going to do a couple warm-up songs, all right? You're going to hear a little bit at the beginning of the concert. We're going to hear like half of Ghost's Love Score. Then we're going to hear the song they play right before The Greatest Show on Earth. And then we'll get right into it. So I want you to get into the feeling and mood. And then when they hit us with the grand finale, we'll be prepared. We'll be primed to take it in, okay?
I wonder if this song's going to hit me in the feels, though.
Well, has a Nightwish song not hit you in the feels yet?
It has not. Okay, you're right. Every song.
The deepest solace lies in understanding. This ancient unseen stream, a shudder before the beautiful.
Yes!
So this is the very beginning of the concert, yeah. You hear one more of their rockish songs.
Wow, yes!
Queen Bee. Queen F. Alright, so now we're going to go slow sport. That was the beginning intro. We don't have time to listen to the whole thing, so I just wanted to prep it for a little bit. We all know and love this one, right?
Take me, kill me, call me, bring me home. Everywhere, every day, I keep on watching the sleep relief. The odds in a abandonment, leave a view. And me forgive me, adoring beast.
Woo! Yes!
Such a badass. Just please.
I love this. This is so beautiful.
Done better!
Love her.
Guys, drums sound great on this.
I love the bit. That's so wonderful.
Like her regular voice and her opera voice are fighting.
Right?
Is the childhood show me myself without a shell, like the effort of me? I'll be there when you say time to never hold
She's starting to pause like Tarja. She's starting to pause like Tarja. She would sing it sooner than that. She's arranging it more like Tarja used to sing it.
Different. I agree. Yeah, it's definitely more like.
Also, even a little more operatic than
I won't go that
she
far.
did the first time.
Yes. I love this part. Yes.
That's still the best though. I need that at the end of this song always.
I agree, babe.
Yeah, that's the one thing I can't
miss that.
get around with Tarja's version is I need this. This is a proper rhythm.
Wow. Woo! Yes, baby. I love how
Doing
she's
your
a
move
part
there.
of the audience. She's feeling it with them, you know. She's giving out her energy, her vibe. I love it. Oh, I love her
Yeah.
so much. I love them.
Man, that song never gets
I really
old.
hope I get to go to their concert one day.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, they're not coming to our neck of the woods anytime soon.
No.
Not yet.
You have to go to Finland. I love them so much.
Kiitos.
Kiitos. What does that even mean?
Sit vaan hepan selkä.
Huh?
Let's saddle up then.
What is this?
Would
This
you
is
like
the,
to
this is
take a
the
little
song
ride
before the
with
greatest
us?
show on earth.
Okay.
This is the final warm-up song.
Tampere!
This is from Imaginarium,
Would
the
you
last
like to
album
make
I
a
used to
little
listen to with
ride
Annette.
with us?
Oh, I like to see her headbang. I like that.
She's so hot. Oh, I love it. Her energy is just amazing.
Doing the Viking roll too.
Yes. It's everything.
Damn, she got presence on stage.
Yes, she does.
But this one, why don't we recognize the faces loving us? So what's gone? If not the spark that started life's my love, a stranger, sweet music, starry skies, sparkle, mystery, wherever.
Again, she's giving me goosebumps. I already like this song better. This song's about roller coasters.
Really?
Yeah. You go, boy.
Yes.
Wake up, dead boy, enter adventure, land tricks, tales, magicians. They'll show you what is real colors, jugglers, sneak charmers, by our trail magic of the moment.
Pace yourself, baby. Pace yourself. I know, it's that energy, right? Song feels like it's moving, like it's on a roller coaster, right? Metaphor for life. Highs and lows.
Guitars!
Thank you. That's what it means. Thank you.
Oh,
Kiitos.
guitars. Yes.
Thank you. Here we go. This is it. You ready?
Yeah, yeah, I'm ready.
Oh my god. Greatest show on earth.
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
As ready as I'm gonna be. So when you see the fireworks, that's the start of the Big Bang.
Okay, thank you.
Creation of the universe.
This is so sweet.
Boom. I was wondering where Troy was. Gorgeous. Braveheart always makes me cry.
After sleeping through 100 million centuries, we have finally opened our eyes on a sumptuous planet, sparkling with color, bountiful with life. Within decades, we must close our eyes again. Isn't it a noble and enlightened way of spending our brief time in the sun? To work at understanding the universe and how we have come to wake up in it.
Cosmic law of gravity pulled the newborns around the fire. A careless cold infinity in every vast direction. Lonely Pharaoh in the Goldilocks zone, she has a tale to tell. From the stellar nursery into a carbon feast, enter LUCA. The tapestry of chemistry. There's a light in the garden, leading us to the mother of all. We are one, we are a universe. For there's what will be science of the Devonian sea. Aliens flash right in the tail of our soul. Day to day, new opening for the greatest show on earth. Iron channels welcoming the outside world to the stuff of stars. Banning the tree of a biological holy. Enter I, the tapestry of chemistry. There's a light in the garden, leading us to the mother of all. We are one, we are a universe. For there's what will be science of the Devonian sea. Aliens flash right in the tail of our soul. Day to day, new opening for the greatest show on earth.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's my new favorite thing, watching her
I
headbang.
know. And she has magical hair.
I can watch that all day long.
She's wonderful.
We are here to care for the garden, the wonder of earth, every form most beautiful. Every form most beautiful. We are one, we are a universe. Forebears of what will be, science of the Devonian sea. Aliens flash right in the tail of our soul. A day to day, new opening for the greatest show.
Yeah, buddy.
Yes.
is great. Yeah.
Is that it?
Oh. Remember, life is still being created. She is special, isn't she? Oh shit. Oh shit.
Wow! Oh, wow. What is that?
Marco, don't do this, man.
Oh! Yes! I love her. Look at her.
I love it. I love it. I'm so glad they didn't show Marco while he was doing that. I don't think you would have been able to control yourself.
After a billion years, the show is still here. A single one of your fathers died young. The 100 travelers out of Africa. Little Lucy of the Afar. Give back to fantasy, to idolatry, to self-destructive weaponry, and turning out guns deeper than the past. The mystic dread of the hunter. Ionia, the cradle of thought, the architecture of understanding, the human lust to feel so exceptional to rule the earth. Hunger for shiny rocks, the giant mushroom clouds, the will to know it should be done by. Enter history, the grand finale, enter Ratkind. Man, he took his time in the storm, and the dreams are a single grain of sand. He gave up to poetry, but one day ceased to be. With the last night of the library.
Is that Metallica?
Dream to
Kiitos.
Ethos.
We are going to die, and that makes
Dawkins
us
again.
the lucky ones. Most people are never going to die because they're never going to be born. The potential people who could have been here in my place, but who will in fact never see the light of day, outnumber the sand grains of Sahara. Certainly those unborn ghosts include greater poets than Keats, scientists greater than Newton. We know this because the set of possible people allowed by our DNA so massively exceeds the set of actual people. In the teeth of these stupefying odds, it is you and I, in our ordinariness, that are here. We privileged few who won the lottery of birth against all odds. How dare we whine at our inevitable return to that prior state from which the vast majority have never stirred?
Feel like you're there, right?
So magical. Oh my god!
Yeah, that's it right there, man. That's what it's about.
Oh my god!
This feeling right here, this is life. This is...
Yeah!
We felt this way about each other.
Wow.
It's like tears of joys, but also tear of sadness.
Sorrow, yeah. Indeed. Oh my god. Wow. Wow. This.
This is what I like to
There is
feel.
grandeur in this view of life, with its several powers
Listen to his
having been originally breathed into a few forms or into one. And that whilst this planet has gone cycling on according to the fixed law of gravity, from so simple a beginning, endless forms most beautiful and most wonderful have been and are being evolved.
Yes. Yes. Oh.
Yeah.
It's crazy, the outro song at the end when they stopped playing was
Yeah.
so emotional. And oh my god, there's so much to say
There's
just about
too
what I
much.
just saw, let alone the lyrics, but what I just saw. Like let's pick a member, you know. First of all, obviously thank you
Sorry.
Tomas
Yes,
for
thank you, Thomas.
the composition and the ideas.
Yes.
Thank you, Marco, for helping him.
I hope you guys get to see this for action one day.
Oh,
We love you. I appreciate you.
thank you, Troy, for adding what you add to this, which is a lot.
Yeah. Thank you, Flora, for putting your entire heart,
I was
mind, and
saving her
soul
for the
and
end
body
because I wanted to
out.
thank Kai for his amazing drums, which were
God,
fantastic.
your drums, baby. They're exceptional.
But then yes, Floor,
Flora.
for giving
Thank
for
you.
lending us her instrument.
Yes.
It was well utilized in this song.
Yes, it was. It really was.
From the sweet singing to that Mother of Earth kind of delivery of
Right?
the words in that lyrics.
Really, though.
It just demanded presence and listening, as if
Yeah.
you are listening to a deity
Exactly.
proclaim
How
what
does she do that?
happening. Just and her headbanging
Her
is
and windmills. Her windmills are the sexiest, most powerful windmills I think I've ever seen.
she owned that
She
shit.
did. Oh my gosh, she worked the entire stage. You know, the instrumentalist, you know,
Troy?
gentleman, Troy, all of them, they're always putting their everything out there.
Yeah.
Blood, sweat, and tears. If it wasn't, you know, you can't see the blood, but it's there. And then you have this beautiful powerhouse Floor. They're right along with them. And it seems as if she's kind of like trying to, because they're doing a lot. They're doing a lot, you know? And not to minimize or diminish a vocalist's ability and what it takes to put it all out there. But it kind of feels like Floor is trying to put it all out there too. She's trying to match what they're giving, what they're bringing. That's what it feels like for me. I am blown away, and honestly, this was
For
the
me?
greatest show on earth.
For me, honestly, I feel like they're trying to keep up with her vocals. Her vocals are so powerful.
Well, yeah, that too. I can
That,
totally appreciate that.
But the complexity of
Oh God.
the grandness of the song
Uh-huh.
almost is what keeps it from being completely grand.
Wow, babe. That's a good one. That's heavy.
The reason I say that is obviously it's an excellent song,
Right?
but it needed to be even longer than 24 minutes.
It needed, or you say you didn't?
It needed.
It needed.
It did, because
I
for
agree.
example, because while we are obviously experiencing the creation of the universe and everything,
Uh-huh.
I feel like because the song is moving at a very
Uh-huh.
quick pace, moments like when but it also makes it beautiful that it's so fleeting, but like moments where the bagpipe kicks in,
I know.
you get only a little
wanna-
taste,
you
but
want
then the song
more
has
of
to move
it.
on to the next chapter,
But
you
that's
know?
how life is, though.
Yes, I know. In a way, I think that's makes
Everything
sense
you do
in
is
the song.
intentional.
I'm not saying this is a negative, by the
Oh,
way.
I
I'm
know,
just
babe.
saying that
Over
it's
here.
that weird. It's what gives you that feeling at the end of
Yeah.
wanting more,
Wanting
and
more,
like you
yeah.
feel like you're missing out.
Exactly.
And that's what life makes you feel like.
It does.
you
I
know?
wanted more at the end. I felt like, you know what? I need more, and I don't want it to end. You know, I don't want it to end. I want it to continue.
Yeah, and what's interesting is I had to read the lyrics in advance before hearing the song because I wanted to be able to break them down at the end of this video, which
Thank
I
you.
intend
Okay.
to do.
I appreciate that.
But I was very curious to see how those lyrics were going to be put into the song because they were kind of odd the way they were written and everything.
Okay.
And they were
yeah.
so it was very interesting to finally hear the music and how it was arranged, and I never expected Floor to be delivering part of the lyrics the way she did,
Okay.
and then Marco and then her taking turns on the different part. So I was pleasantly surprised with how it was delivered, and I was surprised with how much Dawkins made me feel.
Wow, really?
His voice is, I mean, I've always thought his voice was very soothing and angelic, but him reading the passage in the song was very emotional
It
for
was
me.
for me as well. I'm surprised you were surprised by that.
Not just the
Because
strength of his
jeez.
words, but, well, I've heard him speak before, but not just the strength of his words, but I guess in the context of the song.
Yeah.
But just
And
his
how-
spoken
how he
word
spoke
when he's being gentle like that.
Yeah.
It's incredibly
That was so
sweet.
beautiful. Yes, it was. Everything. This Nightwish is perfect. The greatest show on earth is perfect. I tell you, I said earlier that Pink Floyd was #1. Kind of like creeping up there.
Oh, you gonna make people
Oh no, man.
both happy and angry at the same time?
They're up there together. How about that? Can I say that they're like a tie?
Can they be
Is there
equal?
such thing?
I don't know. I feel like the Pink Floyd fans will find that insulting.
Oh my god. Cut that out.
No, we ain't gonna cut nothing out.
Well,
but
no, yeah. I mean, listen. I'm one to be free to who I. To be
listen,
who
listen,
I am, okay?
listen. I get some of you old school Pink Floyd guys are you know, you love your music, you grew up on it and stuff. But don't be afraid to try new things. I mean, Nightwish is something new to what Pink Floyd was. It doesn't have to be better or worse, but it can be equal. You don't have to pick one over the other. Does no one like notice a similarity between the beginning of this song when Floor begins to sing, not sing, but just use her voice in that Great Gig in the Sky?
Oh my god. Honestly though,
Isn't-
really real talk.
right?
Straight up and down and not in a circle.
Isn't that like a similar
That
concept to
reminded
Great
me.
Gig in the Sky?
It placed me there. It did. And that's why I'm like, oh, because it just did something to me on the inside. It took me there. It took me someplace that I have never been.
Yeah.
Hey, you're good.
And I keep saying Great Gig in the Sky wrong. Is it Great Gig in the Sky? Because I know I always say it
Wait.
wrong because I have bad habits that I've developed over the years and I say things wrong.
Great Gig in the Sky, yes.
It is Great Gig in the Sky, right?
Yes.
Because I've said it, I literally said it wrong in our own reaction.
Yeah, 'cause you said
Even
Big
with
Gig
the-
in the Sky. It's Great
Okay,
Gig.
okay, even with the
Yeah.
title there, I still say it wrong. But yeah, that's what it
Yeah.
evoked on me is like
Yes,
that Great
it
Gig in the Sky.
did,
And I
babe.
could have sworn I heard a Metallica riff in the middle.
Well, I didn't like what you said. No, I didn't hear that.
It was Enter Sandman. For like no. I'm saying intentionally. No, there was actually. I'm not saying it sounded like Metallica. I'm saying they intentionally put a Metallica riff in halfway
you
through the
think
song.
so?
I think they were trying to do like music. I think at that point in the song, Man has already existed, and they were showing us music. And one of the songs, maybe we missed some other instruments that they played there, but I definitely
Okay.
heard Enter Sandman just like for a
Interesting.
second.
Really?
And I noticed in the background there were like cars and stuff driving. So
Yeah,
I think
I noticed
we
that
were.
as well.
I think we were at modern day at that point. So
Gotcha.
they were kind of playing the music of the time, right?
Gotcha.
So I'm pretty sure
Okay.
it was quick, but I heard it there.
Okay. This song definitely lived up to the hype. Indeed.
Yeah. To your point, because you made a comment in your Tarja's version where you were bothered by the fact that she leaves the stage immediately after the song.
He's saying to my comment that I posted on YouTube on the video.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little uncomfortable with it, but I can't honestly, as a fan though, I know Tarja is a sweetheart, but I also know that perhaps you made a point that maybe she's disconnected from Nightwish,
Well,
and you know, I can't say that maybe isn't true, and that could be why it is. Floor definitely, I will agree, Floor definitely seems like she's more part of the band and she's more present
Right.
with the band than Tarja did. I will admit that,
You know,
as much as I love Tarja.
let me just say though, because I think you kind of misunderstood me as well. There's no hating on Tarja. There's no bashing her. I'm not talking about her. I'm not claiming that she has ego or any of that stuff. Me as a newbie listening to this group, I have a non-biased approach, and eyes. My eyes, I don't have filters on them. You understand? I'm not walking with blinders. You know, people that grew up or listened
They
to
have
Nightwish.
lenses on.
Okay, grew up, you know, or started listening to Nightwish with Tarja. You know, I believe that a lot of people quite possibly may have, you know, some biases, you know, and that's okay. That's okay. We're all entitled to feel what we feel, think what we think, and say what we say. So when I made that comment on my reaction, it wasn't a slight to Tarja. It's just me as a person that is on the outside looking in, as a newbie. It feels that Tarja, there was a disconnect with her. And it feels like, as again, an outsider looking in, that there's this oneness within the group, all right? And there's the group family, and then there's Tarja in the center. And it feels like when the two reactions that I've done, there's one on Patreon you haven't seen yet, and this one, and as well as Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, so 3 actually.
3 actually, that at the end, and I've never seen an artist do this, a singer do this before in a band, at the end of the performance, she gritos and then she's out of here, she leaves. And so that's a bit off-putting for me as a person that's being introduced to a group. Okay.
I should also point out that you've seen those performances were towards the end when they kicked her out of Nightwish.
Okay, well, I don't know that.
So that could be towards the end of their relationship. Their strong
Okay, then
relationship.
again, that's my perception. That's just what I'm experiencing because I'm new coming into this here. But again, it's not a slight to her. She's exceptional. She's beautiful. I appreciate her and I respect her.
Not just that, you heard her. If you guys missed it on Twitch, she did hear "Promise" with Within Temptation,
Yes.
and say what you thought of her voice in that.
Well, I mean, that's going to be in the case you missed it, right? So you're going to spoil it for them more.
you can give them a little teaser because you've changed your opinion a little bit about Tarja's voice. And if anyone hasn't heard that song before saying Tarja is only one-dimensional, go listen to that song.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I thought that she was because again,
She's
the
not.
songs that I've been hearing from her,
Yeah.
she's been singing in a very operatic
Or
way.
classical style, yeah.
And I love it. It's beautiful. So I thought she was. I didn't know. I didn't know really which way or the other. But when I heard her sing in this song, baby, when I say I was taken aback,
Yeah.
but in a good way, the sister was okay. But stay tuned to watch the in case you missed
Yeah,
it.
I'll put it up in case you missed it.
And upload it. But yes, my loves, I have a newfound appreciation and respect and love.
Yeah, she's never considered
For
herself to be
Tarja.
opera. Yeah.
Right. So yeah, let's just keep it there. We're gonna check out the in case you missed it once we upload it.
All right, so let's get to these lyrics.
Oh boy, I'm ready.
You need a break, or you want to just get right into it?
Let me clean my eyes. Chapter 1, 4.6.
All right, we took another break. You all freshened up?
Freshened up, baby.
Yeah,
Yikes.
this is a long one. We gotta.
I am having so much fun though. Like really.
This is deep, man. You know what my favorite part of this shirt is? I'm hungry right now. My stomach is
Yeah.
growling, so it looks like he's the one growling.
I'm hungry too. We're gonna eat.
That's a problem for another moment.
All right.
Part 1 was called 4.6.
4.6.
Yeah. And he writes it out 4 and the word point and then 6. The formation of the solar system 4.6 billion years ago. That's where the chapter starts, where the song starts. That's the Hadean Eon. Now I have to mention this because this is part of the lyrical reading. If I can't say 4.6 billion years ago and the universe was created without talking about how something can come from nothing. Okay, and particularly because I see religious people still argue this as their final bastion of hope, that this is proof that God may exist, because in order for something to exist, God would have had to create it. And again, I don't want to be combative or argumentative or anything like that, other than the fact that I can't ignore that if nothing existed, then God couldn't have existed either. There's no effective argument there. You're making something up that has no basis in any kind of math or reason or any kind of past information. If I were to, for example, argue that something and nothing are the same thing, right? That the universe has a value of 0, and that energy that's created is offset by gravity, thus keeping that number 0, so essentially effectively making something and nothing the same. Which means that the universe at the moment existed as nothing. Everything that we have now technically exists as nothing. And everything, eventually the universe will collapse on itself and it will go back to 0. But the thing is, it's expanding and contracting.
I know.
The value is always 0, meaning that's the true meaning of infinity, where the value has always been the same.
Gotcha.
It's still a hard concept for a lot of people to understand.
It's heavy.
But you understand that we come to these kind of possibilities based off of math, based off of what we know of the universe and emerging information and things that we study. It doesn't come out of someone's butthole. If you are just saying that it happened by magic and you refuse to explain on any conceptual level how it's even possible, then other than magic, that is not a valid or even interesting argument. It's actually quite lazy and sophomoric, in my opinion, and very underwhelming compared to the true reality of our existence, which is what this song is trying to convey. The true power of our existence is in the majesty of the universe and the fact that we shouldn't even exist. Everything is against us and against all odds. We are here. That's the lyric at the end. We were here, but I prefer we are here. You and I right now, we are experiencing this, and there were so many before us, and that honestly is all that matters. And if you miss that, you are missing life in and of itself. You know, there are people in religions who believe life is suffering, and it's only the afterlife where you will enjoy.
Yes.
Can you imagine that?
I cannot.
Imagine missing the entire point of your existence only to die and then nothing, and then you're not even going to feel dumb. You won't know it. It doesn't matter. But just to miss the very point of existence because you've brainwashed yourself into some sort of ideology, some sort of idea that manifested itself thousands of years ago. It's honestly quite sad to me. Sadder is the pain and the separation and the tribalism that religion causes. And it's not just tribalism, of course. It's money, it's greed, it's patriarchy. It's racism, it's all these things. We're constantly looking for excuses to say we're different from the others, and that therefore we should be the ones in charge, or they should be the ones in charge. Religion is just another one of those things that adds to the pile, and I would like to see as that pile shrink as much as possible.
It is shrinking.
I don't care if we're growing or not. What I care about is people taking religion seriously. You can have faith, and you can have this basic idea of a feeling of something special.
Yeah.
But that's not how we all take it. We take things to extremes constantly. You can't prove God exists, but you can prove that human beings created God. That's easily provable. Just Google it. There's a guy you should go listen to. I was just watching a YouTube video of him the other day. Michael Shermer. Go listen to YouTube videos like Michael Shermer's on the evidence, which is overwhelming, that, of course, human beings created religion and all deities and all belief systems and everything like that.
A lot of it is recycled, too.
Yes. Actually, that's...
Horace,
this is hilarious. She didn't see the video I saw, but that was literally one of his points.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of religion is recycled from other ideas.
You know Horace?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of Christianity's beliefs and doctrines based on. It stems from that.
Yeah. Yeah, because as creative as they weren't
They weren't that creative.
They eventually hit a block and they had to copy some other religions. But again, and it's like he said in that quote where, everyone is atheist to everybody else's God except their own.
That is true, yeah. That is true.
So it's not hard. You can understand what it is to not believe. Think about all the other religions you don't believe. That's us. We just took it one God further.
Archaean horizon. The first sunrise on a pristine Gaia. Opus perfectum. Somewhere there, us sleeping.
The Archaean, which is one of the 4 geologic eons of Earth's history, and it occurred 2 to 4 billion years ago. During the Archaean, the Earth's crust had cooled enough to allow the formation of continents, and life started to form. So that's the significance of the Archaean eon. Then they say the first sunrise on a pristine Gaia, right? Gaia being...
Gaia is like God,
Mother Earth.
Mother Earth, yes.
Yeah, Mother Earth. It's the Greek goddess in mythology,
right,
that represents Mother Earth. Opus perfectum, right? The perfect composition. They're referring to the composition of the creation of life. Everything had to be perfect in order for life to exist.
Amazing.
The Earth had to rotate the right distance from the sun. Too close, we burn up. Too far, we freeze. We have to have an environment that allows for water. Without water, there's no life. Mm-hmm. We needed the moon to stop asteroid impacts from hitting the Earth. Obviously, we've had some extinction events. There's definitely evidence of a giant crater that might have wiped out the dinosaurs. So at any moment, we could very well get hit by another meteor. That's a constant threat. These are things we should be worrying about more than our petty squabbles. So this is part of the bigger grand scheme of things that's important to understand about the universe, as opposed to just feeling safe because there's an invisible protector.
Exactly.
The invisible hand of God, it concerns me because it's...
Concerns me too.
When it fails you, we all feel it. So somewhere there, us sleep. So obviously, us human beings waiting to exist. So it took billions of years for life to start on this earth, to slowly evolve and perpetuate.
After sleeping through 100 million centuries, we have finally opened our eyes on a sumptuous planet, sparkling with color, bountiful with life. Within decades, we must close our eyes again. Isn't it a noble and enlightened way of spending our brief time in the sun to work at understanding the universe and how we have come to wake up in it?
So this is the part that I believe Richard Dawkins spoke. It is in our destiny that we, just as we were created, we will be destroyed because it's against the laws of the universe and it's against the laws of physics for immortality to exist. It is impossible to become immortal because even if we find, for example, that we can upload our brains into AI, eventually the sun will be destroyed, eventually the earth will be destroyed, and ultimately, many ages from now, the universe will eventually cease to exist. All the energy that's created is slowly going to burn out. This is the laws of physics. So immortality, vampires, whatever, it's not possible, and it's not meant to be. And again, there's a beauty in that, in the fact that we are exactly the way we should be. We are no different than any other element in the solar system or in the universe. We are part of that. We are the stardust created from the universe, and we have a place in it. And even if it's for a small moment, just the fact that we're able to be conscious. We're the only thing in the universe right now that we know of that can actually point at the universe and recognize
that it's
its own consciousness.
Right, yes.
That's a level of consciousness that nothing else has. That's what makes everything so special. That's what makes us so special. It's that consciousness, that ability to realize and recognize our place in the universe is
and
unreal.
appreciate each other and things that surrounds us.
It's unreal. It's absolutely mind-breaking.
Yes.
And how we have come to wake up in it, meaning the meaning of life, right? To me, this is the alternative to God. This is the God that you seek. This idea and this reality that this song is trying to represent, what Dawkins is trying to represent, what scientists are trying to teach you, is that this is more amazing than anything God has to offer, because it is on such a giant scale. It is so much grander than anything God can provide. And unfortunately, immortality, the one thing that you probably latch on to God for, is the one thing the universe doesn't allow. Once you accept that, you can see the beauty in everything else.
Goes against it.
I know it's scary, but once you accept that, everything else, you can appreciate life so much more, but then you also have to live it with that in mind, and that way you can truly appreciate and live for what has true meaning.
I miss that, when I was a Christian, I miss having that security blanket.
Do you though? Do you though? I mean,
I just, I kind of do.
Yeah.
I never feared death before. I'm like, I'm gonna be with Jesus and see my loved ones again. It was it's comforting. You know, but now there's nothing there after that. It's scary in a way. I don't know why, but it's kind of scary. It kind of pains me a little bit.
But you know what? That pain is how you know you're alive.
Indeed.
I've learned to come to embrace it as an understanding of our place in the world. And it's like I say, I mean, sometimes I do envy religious people because they're able to have this comfort, but my brain simply cannot allow me to believe in something that isn't real. So I have no choice but to understand what is understood.
You mean what is?
What is however you want to describe it. Yeah.
Yes.
If I could just add on that real quick, that is the point that this song and people like us are trying to make, though. The alternative to being afraid of death is to never have existed at all.
Yeah.
If we can understand that one thing, those who have never been born do not fear death because they fear nothing. They have no consciousness. They have never had the luxury and the opportunity and the gift that we have had to be able to look at ourselves and even know we exist. Right. You can't be afraid of not existing unless you know you exist. Animals, they preserve themselves instinctually, but they don't understand the concept of death. They only know that in order to survive, they have to run. But they run for anything, whether it's a threat or not, because it's a better safe than sorry. It's part of their instinct. To be self-conscious, to be aware of your mortality and your place in the universe is a gift that I would not give up just because of the fear of death.
Oh, of course not. No.
So if that's one consolation, if you fear death, it means you understand it. It means you know what it actually is to be alive.
Right.
End of story.
Appreciate
If you damage your brain, you will not fear death because you no longer have the same level of consciousness as a conscious being has. Everything is up here. It's all mind over matter. It's all understanding. All the wiring, everything is up in here. Our existence in our life is up in here. That's a gift. As a consequence, we have to fear death. But in the meantime, we have all of this incredible stuff to experience and enjoy. And that's a gift that is worth the trade-off, in my opinion. Seriously.
Indeed. Chapter 2, Life.
The cosmic law of gravity, right? So yes, for those who don't know, gravity is a law.
It is?
Yes.
Who passed it?
Check Newton, check Einstein to learn more. I'm not here to teach you science.
Of course
like I
not.
said, if you're ignorant on these things and you want to learn more, you've got two choices. Either trust the people that have done the work or do the work yourself. Very simple.
It's easy.
It's easy. It's not easy, but you
It's
gotta
not.
want
It takes work, yes.
If you don't want it, then don't participate. It's fine, but you gotta want it. It is there if you do want it, though. Galaxies, stars, and planets are formed by what we call accretion, which is the accumulation of particles into a massive object by gravitationally attracting more matter into a disc-like shape or particle. So you notice that galaxies and everything, they all have a similar shape. And that's
Right.
because the reason why a sphere or ovals are natural shapes is because of gravity. And then as things pack on from each side, it takes the natural curvature shape. That's why the Earth is round for our flat Earth friends. That's why the moon is round. That's why all planets are round. That's why everything is round because of gravity, and the rotations around the sun, planetary orbits, they're all round. Now, not perfect circles, mind you, because gravity changes. The force of gravity varies. But the closer you are to the source of gravity, the stronger the gravity is, and the further apart. So there's different shapes of the circle, but they're all curvatures.
Gotcha.
All right. Pull the newborns around the fire. So remember, we're still in the planetary stage. So what do you think that means? Who do you think are the newborns?
Planets?
The planets. And what's the fire?
The sun?
The sun, right. So the planets
You sure about
around
that?
the
Is
sun.
this what it says?
Pulled the newborns.
Yeah,
So these
gotcha.
newborn planets are being pulled in by the gravitational force of the
that's
sun,
deep.
thus
Nightwish, you guys are great.
creating
Well,
our solar system,
he's
right?
the one who wrote.
A careless cold infinity.
A careless cold infinity.
Space. Yeah?
It's cold and it's infinite. Is it really infinite? That's amazing.
The known universe, from what we understand at the moment, is. But again, remember what I said about nothingness and something? Infinity may be something similar to that. It may not have a value, and it's why we cannot comprehend it in our brain holes.
Difficult.
Yeah, that's something. The
The
nothingness.
something that's a nothing is a nothing that's something.
And what's interesting is, like I said, the nothingness, people use that as an argument for God.
Yes,
I've
I
always
did.
used that as the disproving of God. Because
God is everything.
as a child, I used to look up and I used to ask myself, if there was nothing, how can God have always been? Like, infinity has always broken my brain because I don't see how there could be nothing, and I also don't see how something can be infinite. And those two concepts, to me, prove that there is no God, because just like the universe exists, God would have had to be started at some point.
I
Neither
think
one
the
of them
same
made
thing,
sense.
though, actually. I
Yeah.
think the same thing.
Neither one of them made sense. So it
I would
broke my
always
brain
ask,
either way.
who created God then?
Yeah. At least scientifically now we have at least some attempts to explain it, and understanding how things work is what my brain needs. I can't just accept things. I just can't accept fantasies, In every vast direction, So infinity, right? And expansion. So the universe obviously is expanding, which is how we come to the theory that if it's expanding, at some point it must have had a starting point, which is how we come up with the Big Bang Theory for those who don't know. It's expanding and it's reverse engineering. Lonely farer in the Goldilocks zone. So we've already spoken about that. The Goldilocks zone, the habitable zone.
Okay.
It's that perfect where the planet is just in the right spot so that life can be created.
Yes. It's amazing.
And again, not by some god, but by happenstance, by chance. This is why there isn't more life on the universe. Seriously, if there was a god, there would be more life in these planets. There's no reason to just make one sole individual planet with no life for light years around it. That's what's the point of that?
Yeah,
that right there also makes sense that it's obviously more of happenstance, that we just got lucky that everything fell into place. And it's not like we got lucky and everything fell into place overnight. This took billions of years. It even reset a couple times. We had catastrophic extinction events. Life persevered because the ingredients were still there. But again, we could very well easily just kill ourselves, blow ourselves up, and then life will start anew. And the next, you know what? That's a lyric later on that I'll explain. So I'll hold that thought for a minute.
Licking your fingers? Who does that?
This guy.
Ew!
This is my teaching phase. So I like it. So she has a tale to tell, right? Talking about the history of the Earth forming from the stellar nursery into a carbon beast. So you know where carbon life forms, right?
Yes.
So let's break that up in two things. Stellar nursery, right? Which is an area of outer space within a dense nebula in which gas and dust are contracting, resulting in the formation of new stars. All right, so that's our stellar nursery, our Milky Way, right?
Yeah.
Carbon is the key component of all known life on Earth. All right, not to be confused with carbon dioxide, which is accelerating global warming. Okay, two different things. Okay, two different things. Very important. All right, so enter LUCA. This lyric confused you.
It did.
You weren't sure if it was an acronym or a name.
Yeah, right. I did.
Probably because it was all in capital letters, right?
Yes.
So it is in fact an acronym. Now, of course, we pronounce it LUCA, but it's the last universal common ancestor.
Last universal common ancestor.
You ready for this?
Last universal common ancestor.
What does that make you think?
Last universal common ancestor?
Ancestor.
The monkey? I'm sorry. I don't know what it means. I don't know.
No, that's you're being too
Simple?
basic here.
Common ancestor?
Not to humans, to all life. So check this out. And what's fascinating, and this is very important to understand, because I mentioned earlier that I didn't listen to Dawkins. I didn't get my ideology from Dawkins. My opinions of everything that I also agree with here, because this is all facts, was based just off of my own learning and understanding. Because again, when you learn things objectively, you're going to come to the same conclusion, because there really is only one right answer with the evidence that you're given. As we get more information, we evolve our answer. But we all end up in the same place if we're truly being objective and we're learning everything that there needs to be learned, everything that's available. So Darwin predicted LUCA. He predicted LUCA, which is why I'm able to predict so many things that it turns out to be right, not because I knew them in advance, but because it starts to feel like common sense when you learn everything else. So when Darwin sees that life is connected and evolved, it's a safe prediction to assume that there's probably an ancestor, the very first life on Earth, that we all evolved from. So we probably, if we looked, might be able to look in our DNA and find that all life on Earth has a common DNA.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying? That's a fair hypothesis to make. The problem is he couldn't prove it because we didn't have DNA We didn't have the Genome Project back then. We couldn't study DNA back then.
Right.
Okay? So it wasn't until recently that we were
Uh-huh.
able to confirm his prediction. Only 30 years ago, we discovered this.
What?
So, because again, DNA science is new. Remember, it's
Right.
it's a new
We
science. It's a
discovered
new-
what exactly?
So what we discovered is that there is a microbe 4 billion years old
Uh-huh.
that encapsulates all life on Earth. Meaning all DNA shares this one strand, this one marker, not a strand, but a marker in the DNA. All life has it. All life has it.
So we are all connected. I know.
We are more than all connected.
That's so beautiful, guys. Keep it so moving.
Yes. Now it's important to point out that this does not represent the first life on Earth. LUCA was not necessarily the first life. It was the life that won. It was the life that propagated our existence. Okay? There might have been other life at the same time, but this is the one that took a foothold and spread and evolved to all life on Earth.
Uh-huh.
So we share LUCA's DNA.
Luca.
Yeah. And you might know this better than I do, but you've got stories like in Adam and Eve where it's create after life is here, then Adam and Eve are created.
Right.
And this would suggest that obviously we've all evolved from the same lower life form that eventually evolved up. We all share in the same DNA. Human, Homo sapien, man, woman is not dramatically separate from everything else on Earth. We are connected. Our DNA proves that. Yes. And what's interesting about consciousness, I mean, the thing that makes us special is, the thing that obviously makes us stand out is our consciousness and our ability to understand that we exist. But we're not even the only animal that does that. Okay, there are
Dolphin.
dolphins, orangutans, chimps, gorillas, orcas, elephants,
Elephants.
bonobos, magpies. All of these animals have shown self-awareness, consciousness.
It's amazing.
Okay, we just happen to be the most advanced,
Ooh, Bob.
but we are clearly, look at the evidence again, the evidence is so overwhelming. We are clearly connected in this earth as part of Earth. Religion doesn't fit in these scenarios. The science fits, the math fits.
But they believe that God created everything.
Yes, I understand that, but
So-
they also believe that man is uniquely special than animals. They believe that man was created in God's own image, and that they have we share no similarities. Meanwhile, there are animals that are also conscious. There are DNA markers that we share with these animals. You say, but God created everything, but that doesn't mean anything. There's no scientific basis to start your argument from.
Right.
You just literally you just pull that out of your ass and you're saying a thing where scientifically we're talking about DNA, we're talking about evolution, we're talking about fossils, we're talking about geology, we're talking about physics, we're talking about all these different elements, and you literally have nothing to bring to the table except, well, God did it. There's nothing there.
Right.
How are we still believing in something that has so little weight to it? There's zero weight, there's zero oomph, there's zero bite in any of it because there's literally nothing to talk about. Moving on.
Oh, God.
So the Tapestry of Chemistry. There's writing in the garden leading us to the mother of all. So the way I interpret this lyric is chemistry, which is the central science, right?
Right.
It's between physics and biology.
Right.
Because it provides a foundation for understanding plants, rocks, soil, right? It addresses how atoms and molecules interact through chemical bonds to form new chemical compounds,
Okay.
right? So you have this tapestry of chemistry creating all the matter in the garden, leading us to the mother of all creation. That's how I interpret that lyric. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Then we get to the chorus, we are one, we are the universe, forebearers of what will be scions of the Devonian Sea. Now, the Devonian period occurred around 300 to 400 million years ago. All right. It is considered to be the link between the lobe-finned fish and early amphibians. All right. Fossil records show evidence that there were two groups of fish, and it had true bones, teeth, swim bladders, and gills. This is when the first land-living vertebrates are found.
I heard about that.
Yeah, so basically what they're saying is that this period, the Devonian period, the Devonian Sea, it's when the age of fishes existed, and then at some point, one of them, or maybe multiple, started going to land. All right, so that's the significance of that. So you can see where we are in the song now. We're getting to the point where life is moving from the ocean from the sea onto land. All right, eons pass, because again, the evolution is not a quick process. So eons pass, writing the tale of all of us, a day-to-day new opening, right? The moment we go from sea to land, for the greatest show on earth, the history and evolution of life. So that's where the name of the song and the name of the book happens, is when you look at how evolution takes place, how we got here and everything, that is one hell of a show.
Yes,
There's so much information, and if you were to just sit back and watch it happen, and you could see it in real time, it really would be the greatest show on earth.
Oh my God!
You get it now?
Goosebumps.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh my goodness.
That's it right there. Beautiful.
Is that why they did the whole bird's eye view at the end?
I don't know. But you know what? That's what I was feeling when they were showing it. Because I was like right there. That's what it was all about. So look at life. Look how we're feeling right now. Look at the connection we have to everyone, the people on stage, the people in the audience. And we're pulling back, right? Yeah. The feels, man. The feels.
Okay.
So the song goes on to ion channels. And this is interesting because ion channels are proteins found in cell membranes. So it's a discovery as new as the internet. 1991, they find that ions are affecting our muscle twitch fibers, our heartbeat.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, when I took medical building and coding, I took biology, and I learned that the ions, if I remember correctly, it's what allows the brain, it sends signals to the brain. It allows the brain to function and to make quick responses and stuff like that. I think I remember it correctly.
Okay, that's my understanding. Like it affects
yes,
quick thoughts process in the brain.
Exactly.
Okay, all right. So welcoming the outside world to the stuff of stars. I kind of feel like maybe they're referencing Stardust. The fact that we're welcoming.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're all essentially Stardust, not literally, not in the literal sense, but it all starts there. Bedding the tree of biological holy. So this I interpreted as the tree of life. I'm not sure if I got that right, but I kind of feel like bedding the tree of a biological holy. If you're looking at the tree of life, you've got it branching out, you've got bacteria branching out, and then you've got eukarya branching out the other way, and then off from that you also have archaea. And what you would consider the base at this point would be LUCA. So you have LUCA as the common thread of it's the common thread of life.
Okay.
Bacteria going one way, and then life going the other.
Okay.
Where we are. Okay.
Okay.
And then it says enter life. So if you got the tree of life, you got LUCA, and then you've got life entering. The Tapestry of Chemistry. So then they repeat that chorus again. And again, because that's chemistry, all these interactions are happening. Writing the garden, right? Creating life. That's what that chorus is repeating, lending us to the mother of all, right? Yes. The mother of all creation. So it goes on to say, we are here to take care of the garden being earth.
Yes, our earth, yes.
Yes. The wonder of, birth of, every form most beautiful, right?
Yes, it is.
How do you interpret that? I interpret it as all life is beautiful and amazing.
Everything, yes, every form is beautiful.
Very simple.
Very simple.
And because it all evolved, because it all works in symbiosis, it's all valuable.
Yes.
You understand?
All valuable.
Except mosquitoes. Screw mosquitoes.
Chapter 3, The Toolmaker.
Homo habilis, around 2 million years ago. They're the earliest archaeological finds of where we see evidence of tool making. Yeah, so around 2 million years ago would be the Pleistocene period. Again,
Okay.
apologies if I said it wrong. After 1 billion years, the show's still here. Not a single one of your fathers died young.
Not a single one of your fathers died young. We live a long time?
No.
Not a single one of your fathers died young.
Your fathers meaning basically if you were able to spread your seed to the next generation, if you were able to perpetuate your DNA, then you lived long enough to continue life.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
that's why only the fathers didn't die young, because anyone who did die before passing on his seed, basically a lot of the purpose of life is to continue to perpetuate life.
Right.
A very important lesson from a moral standpoint, because one can argue that our purpose here is not only to enjoy life for ourselves, but to prepare it and preserve it for the next generation. And that's a very important argument when you think about things like global warming and things like selfishness and greed and things like that. We're not living to our proper standards
Right.
as good stewards of this earth right now. So that's a very important line in my opinion. Without this idea, we would cease to exist. And if we continue to ignore future generations for our own selfishness, we will cease our existence, because this is a very important element. So the handy traveler out of Africa, right? So at this point, we all at least agree on one
that's why they
thing.
say that. Oh, yes.
All life
All life
came from
came
Africa.
from Africa.
We know this through DNA evidence.
Yes,
We know
it's
this through
easy.
archaeological evidence. Homo erectus, meaning upright man, started migrating
Sorry.
2 million years ago.
Okay.
Then you have archaic humans, which lived around 500,000 years ago and was likely ancestors of both Denisovians and the Neanderthal. So Denisovians are found in like Russian, Siberia, Asia areas. Their fossil
Okay.
records are found there. And of course, Neanderthals, you know.
Neanderthals, not Neanderthals.
No, it's Neanderthals.
Neanderthals.
Tals. Yeah, it's pronounced with a. I'm correct on that.
No, Neanderthals.
Tell me this
not-
is the one thing I can pronounce correctly. Tals.
No.
But I'm pretty sure it's Tals. But found in Europe,
Okay.
right? Which actually we find a lot of cross interbreeding, and we recently found out that a lot of Europeans do have some Neanderthal DNA in there. So somebody got freaky with somebody. And then of course you have Homo sapiens, which dispersed around 300,000 years ago.
That's us.
That's us, yeah. Little Lucy of Afar, okay, refers to an archaeological find that at the time was the oldest ever. All right, so quite possibly the missing link between that monkey man idea, right? The evolutionary missing link, because what they found with Lucy is that she stood upright. She had head-wise a very not monkeyish, but a very ape-like features, but she also had human-like features in the vertebrae and in the hips and in the thighs. So it seemed like a mix of the two, which is what we're always looking for, that missing link of evolutionary growth, right? And they predated her to about 3 million years. So she was called Australopithecus. Found in Ethiopia, like I said, 3 million years old. She was named after the song Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds by the Beatles. You ever heard that one? Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Possibly.
Okay. Anyway, they played that on a loop as they were digging her up, so they named her Lucy. All right. She was also found to be a female. And, she shares features of, like I said, both chimps and modern humans.
Okay.
Afar refers to the Afar Triangle, which is a depression, a geological depression in East Africa, obviously in Ethiopia. And there they also found another find more recently. They named him Ardi, which is he's a Ardipithecus ramibus.
Okay.
Thought to be an early human-like female anthropod meaning resembling human,
Okay, thank you.
4.4 million years ago.
Okay.
It is the most complex humanoid fossil ever found. It has most of the skull, teeth, pelvis, hands, feet. It's more complete than even Lucy was. And what's significant about Artie is he's 4.4 million years old. You got Homo erectus seen migrating out of Africa 2 million years ago, but then you're finding these old specimens of hominids, which include us, erectus, habilis. These are all ancestors of ours that we are finding as far back as 4 million years ago. So it's such significant evolutionary discoveries that, again, religion would like to just simply pass by as meaningless, because religion doesn't think it's more than 6,500 years old. You know what I mean? So there's so much evidence that that's not the case, that that's not true. Even not this, but just rock evidence that that's clearly not true. That it's impossible for me to ever accept that as information. All right, so let's continue. Give birth to fantasy, which is mythology, and later on religion. Right? Idolatry, which is the worship of idols, to self-destructive weaponry. Pretty self-explanatory, right? Enter the God of the Gaps. We've already spoken a lot about the God of the Gaps, so I won't touch that here. We already know wherever we didn't know where something went, we just inserted gods. Little by little, that started to uninsert itself. Deep within the past, atavistic dread of the hunted. So I think this means that religion caused us to revert back to a more primal or violent state, because atavistic means reversion or something ancient or ancestral. So enter Iona, the cradle of thought, the architecture of understanding, the human lust to feel so exceptional, to rule the earth. So Iona is considered the cradle of thought because it's considered to be the birthplace of Greek philosophy and Western scientific thought in the 6th century BC.
Okay.
All right, so that's where that comes from. Hunger for shiny rocks, for giant mushroom clouds, the will to do just as you'd be done, the will to do just as you'd be done by. Enter history, the grand finale, enter Ratkind. So this is what I wanted to withhold from earlier before I got into it. It's the idea that once we destroy ourselves, only lower life forms will survive, right?
Yeah.
And Dawkins imagines a world where rats survive and they thrive amongst our corpses and all the food we leave behind and everything else. And because already now today we have a huge rat problem, like New York, they multiply and stuff. So he envisions they take over the world, and over time they evolve, and they eventually become sentient to the point where they can look back on humans and study us, possibly pondering the existence of how these dumb humans killed themselves.
Man, he took his time in the sun, had a dream to understand a single grain of sand. He gave birth to poetry. But one day he'll cease to be. Greet the last light of the library. We were here. We were here. We were here. The understanding.
I think this part is pretty self-explanatory in the sense that obviously we're here now. We're enjoying our time in the sun. We're trying to understand everything that we are and we will be. Ultimately, it won't matter because eventually everything will come to an end. The final line, which was "we were here," ultimately puts a stamp on that in the sense that, yes, I mean, everything will come to an end. But it still matters that we were here. We still were able to experience it. And that is the gift, right?
Yes.
Which is where the final part, which is the understanding, comes in. That we are going to die. And that makes us the lucky ones. And that's what we're talking about. Is it better to love and lost than to never have loved at all? That common saying that everyone asks. Is it better to have never lived than to live and be concerned about things like death? I'll be honest with you, up until I've read this and studied it and heard the song, I never actually thought of it that way. And quite frankly, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, you decide, would you rather simply have never lived at all than to have to worry about whether there is or isn't a God, or whether there is anything after death, or whether you fear death? I think given those two choices, I would choose life, and I would choose to be here.
Me too.
If I'm being perfectly honest. And in a way, that's comforting. What do you think?
I agree. It is.
I don't know what more there is to say about that.
I'm thankful.
Thanks for taking this journey with us, guys.
Yes. Thank you all so much. And thank you, darling, for putting in so much work and effort into this reaction.
It was a pleasure. I was looking forward to it.
Yes. All right, my loves. I hope you all have enjoyed this reaction / review, situation.
Lyric
the greatest, of the greatest show on earth.
We hope it was a decent reaction. It doesn't have to be the greatest reaction, but we hope it was decent.
We're just hoping that you appreciated the effort, all that Wolf. I hope you appreciated all that he's.
Yours as well.
Thank you, darling, that he put into this reaction for me, for us. Thank you, my love. Yes.
My pleasure.
On that note, if you did enjoy it, please give us a thumbs up. Okay? Comment below. Do not leave without subscribing. And also do share our content as well, baby.
Yeah, be a part of our growing channel.
Yes.
And if it looks like we're exhausted, it's because we've just been shooting for 5 hours.
5 hours. I'm not complaining, though. I've had so much fun.
It was a hell of a ride.
It was a hell of a ride. Oh, my God.
It was totally worth it, though.
And I will say, though, I have to say that I said earlier that Pink Floyd is like number 1 and Nightwish is number 2. They're even.
Whoop, whoop.
They're here. Okay.
All right. Hopefully that doesn't upset the Pink Floyd fans.
I'm sure it will.
You didn't say better.
Well, on that note, Sistah and Wolf signing out. We will see you guys on the flip side at some point in the very near future.
And as always,
keep it metal forever, baby.
don't forget to join us for the party.
Yes. Yeah.
Birthday party.
July
Celebrate her
20th on Twitch. Live party. It's going to be really a lot of fun.
Love y'all.
Thank you, my loves. Bye. Love you guys. Thank you.
So if you think of LUCA as the bark of the tree, and from there it branches out, so you've got bacteria.
Sorry.
What the fuck was that? Are you going crazy?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
All right, so if you imagine you've got LUCA as the base of the tree, and then you've got one branch is bacteria. What is this?
Do you have to say the word bacteria?
Yes.
Okay.
So if it is referring to the tree of life, you've got LUCA would be the base, the branch. This is going to be a disaster. I'm not singing this by myself, am I? Reverend, is this a conspiracy? Crucified for no sins, an image beneath me. You left me incomplete, all alone as a memory now unfold.
The way you were, the chance to save my soul, and my concern is now in vain. Believe the word, I will unlock my door and pass the cemetery.
From this distant vantage point, the Earth might not seem of any particular interest. But for us, it's different. Consider again that dot. That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, Everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam. The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena. Think of the rivers of blood spilled by all those generals and emperors, so that in glory and triumph they could become the momentary masters of a fraction of a dot. Think of the endless cruelties visited by the inhabitants of one corner of this pixel on the scarcely distinguishable inhabitants of some other corner. How frequent their misunderstandings, how eager they are to kill one another, how fervent their hatreds. Our posturings, our imagined self-importance, the delusion that we have some privileged position in the universe, are challenged by this point of pale light. Our planet is a lonely speck in the great enveloping cosmic dark. In our obscurity, in all this vastness, there is no hint that help will come from elsewhere to save us from ourselves. The Earth is the only world known so far to harbor life. There is nowhere else, at least in the near future, to which our species could migrate. Visit? Yes. Settle? Not yet. Like it or not, for the moment, the Earth is where we make our stand. It has been said that astronomy is a humbling and character-building experience. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known.